Crazy how much stuff goes into the van here. Come along as we go through our items for packing. As always, we have a bit of a mess in here. We've got a bunch of snakes and things that don't fit in a tote at this point. We've got our paper bags with our stamp logo on there. Some tablecloths, my pens, my business bag, which I went through in another video. After the event the other day with the wind, I started brainstorming and I picked up or purchased some of these little plastic bags to put my white and light colored friends in so that they will stay clean. Then this week I have also made a ton of turtles, as I showed you in the videos, the different shorts. I did all of the legs, tail, head at the dance competition this weekend. And then Tuesday, I pumped out all the bodies and hooked them all together. So we've got six new multicolored turtles. And then I've been doing peeps the last couple of days here. Well, actually just yesterday and today, kind of as things go. So I've got peeps, I've got another mauve berry one in the works. And then we have all of our existing inventory. We won't take the hats because it's now summer, so the white crate will stay. But all of our existing inventory in the wood crates there will go as well. We have a full van. Time to load the crew in and away we go. So an hour and 20 minutes in, we've sold about $100. So not phenomenal. The weather is beautiful. They do have a shop clinic here as well as adoptable pets. So hopefully things will pick up here soon. We've got just 15 minutes left. People are starting to pack up. So here's what it looks like at the end of the day. Hey friends, so we are back from the show. It is the evening of the show day, and it was a bit windy, not as windy as our event the 2 weeks ago, but it still had quite a bit of breeze. And as we were packing up and starting to get things away, with the tables no longer pushing against the legs of the tent actually blew backwards out from underneath our. So we've got feet that hook onto the tent legs that then the weights sit on top of. And the tent actually blew back out from under the feet and started to fly away. And then as we were grabbing it, it's then warped a bit, but it folded up just fine. So hopefully it's okay. But that was, and then that was the same thing was happening to our neighbor as well. So they had grabbed our tent as ours was flying away, and then I stood there and helped them with theirs. But it was a beautiful day, partly sunny skies the whole day, in the 70s. It was really a fabulous day. 5 mile an hour less winds would have been great, but there was no damage to anything. There was no issues with displays falling over. We also did a lot of brainstorming about how to help support the display and ways that we can work on attaching it to the table with different clamps or things to help reduce some of that tipping. We already attach our crates all together, and all of that is a single unit, but when the wind blows super hard, it then tries to take that whole unit. And then also when wind changes direction and it catches the sidewalls of the tent, sometimes those flap so hard, even when they're as tight as they can be against the posts. Sometimes those flap so hard that it like whips the back of our display. And so brainstorming on how to reinforce that a bit more. But overall, it was the best show I've had so far this year. After the last two shows were quite awful, this one has much more redeeming qualities. So I'm going to go through a breakdown of some of the stuff that we sold and information about the show. So this event was for Wagon Tail's Farm Rescue, and we did it at an axe throwing location called Axes and Allies in Wilmington, and I'm in North Carolina, coastal North Carolina. So my booth fee was only $20, and so that was quite cheap. Certainly one of the least expensive booth fees that I pay. We ended up selling 23 items. So while it's definitely not my best show, it's, you know, it's a mediocre show. But considering my last two were so awful, this one I almost 30 times 10, I don't know. I did very well over my booth fee. So total income, total gross sales minus taxes was $276 US, with those 23 items, which averages out to about $12 per item. We sold a number of $4 items as well as some in $20 to $24 items as well. One item sell, my teenager had 6 items sell. So she needs to boost up some of her little mini creations that she does. Her tension is so stinking tight that literally we did the same pattern test for those boo-boos. If you remember, I talked about pattern testing for the Boo Boo Buddies, and it holds a ice pack. So she did the exact same pattern. She used the exact same hook that I did, and hers was half the size. No lie. So she makes minis. So she makes a lot of mini jellyfish, a lot of mini stingrays, as well as some of our snake snacks. So she needs to boost her inventory on some of those. Then I sold a couple loaf cats. I sold a couple of chickens. I sold one of my dogs. I sold a cheeky turtle, some cows, elephants. It really was a wide variety. There is, outside of the $4 stingrays that my daughter does, which are teeny tiny and really don't take much time or materials. They are a good stash buster. And those were only free. So outside of that, there really wasn't a top seller because everything was, I sold 2 snakes, 2 chickens. It was very much a hodgepodge, a number of turtles, both my multicolored turtles as well as a couple specialty turtles. So it was a good show. It was beautiful weather. I also got 3 more bunny peeps crocheted while I was there. I even replaced one that sold while I was there because I happened to have that same yarn color. Because I had made so many these past few days, I have the pattern memorized now with my modifications that I've done to it. So I was able to whip those up really quickly between customers. Overall, people were super pleasant and it was a great event. While we were in Wilmington yesterday, so now this is day after, we had stopped by Joann's. I had not been in that Joann's store since the closing announcement and all of that. I don't often shop at that Joann's, but do when I'm in town. The yarn was completely picked over. There was like 2 skeins per aisle. It was crazy. The only yarn that they really had left was the extra bulky, which I see doing like finger crochet and that kind of stuff. There wasn't much of anything else. I was so surprised. So next door to that is Ollie's. And Ollie's has occasionally had yarn in their store. And so Ollie's actually had more yarn than Joann's did. Sad, shocking. So I got 2 of these Bernat blankets. I find this colorway very pretty. I'm not quite sure what I'll use it for, but at $5, couldn't pass it up. So we will see what, this could make a cute lovey or something. We'll see what that ends up with. So like I said, I got 2 of those. And then as I reach into my bag here, I got 4 Bernat blanket speckles. I love these for my loaf cats and my chickens. Whoops, the tag just broke on that one. So I only had a small little cake left of this. So I was super excited to pick these up. And again, they were $5. So that was great. They had a couple big bins of it. And I'm like, I want it all. I limited myself to 4. Everybody should be very proud of me. And then I also have a few Joann's of my last yarn order from them that I haven't opened just because life has been crazy and I haven't had a chance to put it into inventory here. If I can even get it open, gracious. There we go. So in here it looks like blueberry smoothie. Yes, blueberry smoothie. All right, I legit had to get scissors to open up the other bag from Joann's. So this, I've got 2 strawberry shortcakes here, and then 2 more mint chips. And unfortunately, they canceled the rest of my order. I had something that was still in processing status for my last Joann's bag. Still in processing status for quite some time, and they just canceled it. I had reached out to customer service on Facebook, gave the order number. I said that, you know, I'd received everything that said shipped. There had already been a number of other cancellations on that order, and I was just wondering the status of the one color that was left in processing, and wondered when that would get canceled. And they said it still showed as processing on their end as well, and they would reach out to the distributor. Unfortunately, then about 48 hours after their remark back, that was then canceled. That was, I think, a Baja Blue, which has become one of my favorite of the new colors that Posh has released. So still hopeful that somebody will buy the rights and continue with Posh. I do know that there are a number of other producers that are stepping up and expanding their colorways, but I do worry about being able to get some of that yarn as we work through it. So I think that brings us up to current times and where I'll wrap it up. I have a list of things that I need to work on to replenish, single items that sold this last week, and work on some of that for my upcoming markets. Then my husband, the spreadsheet king, has made another sheet in my spreadsheet. You know how there's multiple sheets. So as we do our calculations for our supplies, our time in, our profit margins, that kind of stuff, he made me another sheet so it carries over that data that we've already entered. So again, we weigh all of our supplies, we measure all of our time as we do this. I get paid a flat rate, my daughters get paid a flat rate for their time, and then we've got certain market aspects plugged into that, our average of how many items we sell per market and our average booth fee. This was then reevaluated to cover all of 2024 to accommodate for our 2025 price numbers. So going through and updating some of the prices on those things. And there are a number that, because they just haven't been hot sellers, we haven't gone through and done the legwork on that. They were just kind of given a price, and then as we grew, we got more technical with all of this. So there are a number of items that sold this last weekend that we need to go through and truly figure out our prices and our profit margins on that. So then this new sheet keeps track of our total gross sales, our total profits, and then I've also plugged in for my mileage for these shows, because again, I live in the middle of nowhere. I drive 50 plus miles to my events each way. So putting all that in, and then also put the booth fees on there. So as I go through and look at all of this, it's all right on one page. I have been keeping handwritten notes, and I have that in a accordion file for each show as to what sold and those prices. But this will be all nice, quick to look at. And then I can also follow across to see what my biggest items were, my best profit margins, best shows, all at a glance. So I'm looking forward to having that extra data for this year going forward. So I believe that wraps things up. If you've got questions on things, please put them in the comments. If at some point, I've talked with my husband, I'm not sure if the spreadsheet is something that we can export truly. We use Excel for this. I'm not sure how, well that exports to other things, to Google Sheets and that kind of stuff. Again, that is not my field. So we will see if that's something you're interested in. Please make a note and we can try and go through that a little bit more. I know there's other people who sell their spreadsheets and their kind of metrics and numbers, but if that's something that you feel a need is not being met, please let me know. If there are other questions you have about my show or my items, please reach on out. If you've made it this far, please put a little wind emoji for our windy event, but it still was great. So I appreciate all of you. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.